All right, welcome to Old School. Cenk Uygur. Michael Schur is back, everybody. Look at this. How you doing, Shurzy?
I'm doing well, Cenk. It's great to be back. It's like coming home again. Yeah, I had a little hiatus, and here I am.
Rock and roll, love it. What brought him back? Well, obviously, TooStrongCoffee.com/TYT. Everybody knows that. Did it actually have anything to do with Michael leaving or coming back? Of course not. But are they sponsoring the show? Kind of. But do they give to progressive causes? Sure, yes. So TooStrongCoffee.com/TYT. Get that lovely mug thrown in if you get 3 bags. I think we still have that deal. All right. Michael, we can start with this. Oh, Ben's gonna join us in a second, by the way. And I have an excellent topic for you guys about what do you do when a thief has made a mistake, okay? But we're gonna save that for a second. First, let me just start with the important topic of honeysuckle. I'm gonna start uncontroversial. Honeysuckle, hilarious word, correct?
Yeah, but when you first hear it, you don't think it's a hilarious word. But then as you get older and you're forced to think about it like you just did to me, it's a ridiculously hilarious word. I mean, I remember like learning what honeysuckle was at summer camp. And it was actually a thing you could it was a flower you could eat and
yeah. But so that's the uncontroversial part. Is it, when you hear the word honeysuckle, is it slightly erotic to you?
It's not. It's not. And I see why it would be for some people, but it's not for me. I just a weird word, but I don't think it's erotic because it's too obvious.
Yeah, it's too obvious. A little on the nose. Honeysuckle's a little on the nose.
Yeah.
Okay, and there are some words that are just funny, and some of them you know why they're funny, and others it's unclear why they're funny, right? So like honeysuckle sounds funny, gubernatorial sounds funny, and you could figure out why, because the word suck is in honeysuckle, the word goober is almost in gubernatorial. But then there's moist, and you're not quite sure why you're uncomfortable with the word moist. And in fact, I'm gonna guess that you were uncomfortable when I said it. Is that true, Michael?
I wasn't, because moist has kind of jumped the shark as far as words that people talk about being annoying or like weird and uncomfortable. So we're post moist.
See, I'm already uncomfortable. But we were pre Mankiewicz, but now he has joined us. Ben, quick summary on this before we move forward. Not one of the larger topics on Old School. What do you do with a thief is going to be a little bit larger one. But honeysuckle, funny word, yes or no? Slightly erotic, yes or no?
You said, what do you do with a thief?
That's later. Yes,
I got it. I just mean, I'm sorry, is pro stealing stuff again? Is that what's happening?
No, but I did see a thief with my own eyes. It was a fascinating story, which we're gonna get to next.
Honeysuckle, I had some today. It's a delicious flower. Of all the flowers that I enjoy eating, I didn't have honeysuckle today. It's outrageous. You shouldn't eat a flower. It's ridiculous. And yes, it's a lovely name. It's a lovely name.
That's the thing everybody knows about honeysuckle, because
it is. But no one's done it because it's.
No. I did it in summer camp. Like
I know, I'm sure I did too. But I mean, I did it. I knew it would be ridiculous, and it was.
Yeah, but Dusseldorf. No one can understand Dusseldorf. Why is that funny? I mean, there's no like secret like booger in the name or anything like that. But I don't know anyone who doesn't think the word Dusseldorf is funny.
Well, first of all, Dussel is definitely funny, but Dorf is universally accepted as funny. I mean, that's just. I mean,
it's so funny that Tim Conway made a series of videos about Dorf because it was fun.
And
I did not know that.
And written into the screenplay, if not the book, I don't know. I don't recall the book well enough, of Fletch. Give it up for Fred the Dorfman. I mean, it's just funny. And the reason why they chose that name? Because people would just start laughing when he said Fred the Dorfman.
Right. And I had my friend Andy Weissman is, because of Fred the Dorfman, became Andy the Weissman.
Right.
Was one of the
all right. Yeah.
Of all time.
Yeah. No, that's why. Boy, if I all the stories about me being called Cenk the Uger. I mean, but this is it actually. Anyways, okay, I'm past the words. We can go to Stuttgart. We can go to other funny words, but we're moving forward.
But so, Cenk, you know what the capital of the country of Burkina Faso is?
Oh, please! I this one I actually know.
Yeah, you'll know because it's a funny word.
It's a funny word.
I'm so mad at myself that I don't. Go ahead.
Ouagadougou.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Ouagadougou. What was? Oh, Pro doesn't know the double meaning of wiener. Okay, that he's still young enough that he doesn't know that, right? He's 11 years old.
He doesn't know it's a hot dog.
Right. But the minute you say, "Hey, do you want to go get a wiener schnitzel?" He's like, he thinks it's the funniest thing he's ever heard.
Yeah, wiener schnitzel is funny.
Yeah.
Schnitzel is funny.
Yeah.
And even without the prefix, yeah, the Germans have funny words because they're awful.
Yeah,
yeah, and then
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the funny thing, right? For not only a country with a questionable history, but a language that sounds so harsh.
No, I didn't mean the people are awful, though they were for a time. I meant the language.
Yeah.
I mean, even like hamburger's an awful word, and then it's one of the great things that America does. You know, I mean, we do some bad things. We pointlessly occupy many countries, but we take silly words and then we put them to great use. Like we've totally reformed hamburger. The notion that when people first heard it, they would think this is a great name. It's going to be the staple of American lunches for the rest of time. And I don't think anyone would have taken that bet, but we did it because, as we know, we're number one.
Well, there's some truth to that, you know. And what we should have done in Afghanistan is invade them with hamburgers, but like, not kidding too much. I mean, that's what happened in Vietnam. We left in disgrace. Then we sent in McDonald's and Levi's to do our dirty work for us, and voila, they came out relatively capitalist, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you're right. We took something that sounds funny. They're like, yeah, we have beef patty. We call it hamburger, right? And we're like, let's change that to hamburger, and then add some cheese to it, and we'll call it a cheeseburger. It'll become maybe literally the most popular food item in the world. They're like, 999, no deal. We're like, screw it. We're just taking it anyway.
One thing about being away from the Young Turks for a while is you come back and you forget how uncannily accurate Cenk's accents are.
Oh yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
Finally, someone recognizes my accent genius.
Yeah, the cosmopolitan life that this guy went.
Really?
We're getting here. I mean, every place he went, he just captured the dialects. And it's not just this. I mean, you want to know the difference between an accent from Dusseldorf or Stuttgart? It's Cenk. You go to Cenk. He's got it. Yeah.
I'm your guy, man. I've had Wiener Schnitzels in all. The funny thing is, I've never been to Germany. I did have a Wiener Schnitzel in Vienna once, though. That sounds. And then I had a honeysuckle. No, all right. We're moving on. Okay, guys, I want to move on, not because that conversation wasn't fascinating, but because I can't wait to ask you guys this question. So, there are fruit thieves in our neighborhood, okay? Mm-hmm. And I think it's actually about time. I mean, we live in a land of milk and honeysuckle. And there are orange trees and lemon trees and all these different things in people's front yard, and they're filled with oranges, and nobody takes them, and the homeowners don't take them either. They don't care, right? I mean, I'm just picturing, like, I don't want to, like, it's a fun story. I don't want to make it dark. This is a fun story about robbery, but I don't want to make it dark with, like, every time I think like refugees from, countries that are war torn or starving would walk around, and this, by the way, relatively middle class neighborhood in LA, right? They walk around and go, "Wait, are no one going to take these oranges?" Right? Like, there's a tree filled with oranges, and everyone here is refusing to take them. Like, what is going on? So, but from time to time we do get a fruit thief, and so my neighbor has a bunch of trees, including an orange tree, and so. I won't give his last name, obviously. I'll give his first name. Mark's a character. I mean, Mark is great. He's the kind of character you want living next to you.
Thompson, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, Kid Thompson's also a character, but entirely different from Mark. Mark's from Louisiana. And if there's one thing he tells Ginger, it's that if you steal and you don't get caught, you're still a thief.
Is Mark the one who's called you about the intruder or spied on your house, but like in a positive way?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. No, nobody's like, I don't need any extra security.
Right.
I've said this story many times.
You've said about Mark that you secretly know not to get into a political conversation with him, but he's a great neighbor to have.
No, he's great on politics too. He's a Democrat. He's a good old boy from Louisiana, married a Jewish girl in LA, converted, and was mad at his daughter for not studying enough for her bat mitzvah, but in his Louisiana accent, so it's hilarious. But he's still got a lot of Louisiana in him, so that's why I say, like, if you come for me, the last person you're ever gonna see is Mark. So just know. Okay, so he's put up signs in his house by the trees in English, I believe Spanish, Chinese, and Farsi to not take the oranges. Okay.
Yeah.
And nonetheless, and it, anyway, I won't get into the race of who actually does it, but it's one of those groups there, and that is particular to LA and not Latino. I don't know if you can figure it out yet. Anyways, so every once in a while, folks that come by and then start taking oranges and putting them in the bag. And it's usually a middle-aged woman. I don't know why, but it's that is what it is. And maybe it's a cultural thing, and they think, well, I came all the way from over here, and look at all these wonderful oranges. All these suckers aren't taking them, right? Yeah. And so Mark will always catch him. But you're never gonna catch Mark flat-footed. That's not gonna happen. Okay?
And what does Mark do? What does catching them mean?
Oh, he'll come out. You'll love this. This is a story I think I might have told once before. I got a new story I layered on top of this. But Mark, I've seen him do it. He comes out, he goes, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And they're like, good, because they don't know how they're, the homeowner just came out, and he seems so friendly, and they're kind of not sure what's happening, right?
I'm pretty sure they know what's going on. But go on. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. So, and then he goes, "How you doing?" And they're like, okay. Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I just want to ask you something. Where do you live?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" No, what's your address? And they're like, "Why do you want to know?" "Oh, because I want to come over to your house and take some of your stuff." I mean, because I see you taking my stuff, and so I figure I'm gonna write down the address, come over and take some of yours, right? Okay, I love Mark. So now I'm walking in the neighborhood, and some lady, totally different neighbor, goes for the orange tree, and I'm like, oh wow, this is going down right now, right?
Sure.
And so she goes, and she's furtive, but not like looking around. She thinks it's like half normal, half furtive. She takes it and puts it in her bag and stuff, and then walk away casual. And then there's one other lady who sees her, and she starts giving her the stink eye like nobody's business. And I love that stink eye. She was like, and she wouldn't take her eyes off of her until she disappeared from view, right? And she's like, I'm not gonna do anything, but I'm gonna shame you with my eyes, okay? And I think the lady shaming her, look, I don't know why I'm making this story racial, but I think the lady shaming her was Persian, okay? And so for whatever she was, more power to her, but so she chose that path. But as the lady was walking away, she dropped one of the oranges, thereby leaving me in a conundrum. Well, obviously I wasn't gonna do anything. I wasn't gonna go over and ask her what her address is. I wasn't gonna report it to the police. I wasn't gonna, I was just gonna be amused and move on, right?
Well, by the way, so that orange though, you wouldn't be stealing from Mark anymore.
Yeah.
That's true. But again, there's a different neighbor, but yes.
I mean, I would have said something to her. I mean, because it's a rare opportunity to say to someone, you dropped one of the oranges you just stole. Like it's just
no, I know. That's my question.
Yeah. Right,
so what do you do when she drops the orange? Do you say, "Excuse me, you accidentally dropped the thing you just stole"?
Yeah,
like,
I would say that.
But is it impolite not to point out that she dropped it, or is it the reverse? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, if she was just walking down the street and had a bag of oranges and she dropped it, you would say, "Lady, you dropped one of your oranges."
Yes, right? I would definitely say that. Yes.
Yeah, I think you continue to say it. I think that orange should be eaten.
Yeah. Right, it should.
But then, are you aiding and abetting her?
Yeah, I think first of all, Mark, you have a delicious orange tree filled with oranges in your yard. You can stop people, but they're going to take it. But there's only one outrageous element in this story, which I think we all appreciate you telling us in real time, and that is that people bring bags. If Michael and I walked by that house, the two of us, and saw all these oranges, we might actually think, "Come on, let's take 2 oranges, one for me, one for you, and then we'll eat them right then." You can't bring your Trader Joe's bag and fill it up with Mark's oranges. That's outrageous.
Because that's a premeditated crime.
That's a premeditated crime. The other one is sort of a fresh fruit impulse.
A crime of
a frimpulse. And I think that should be in general rewarded, but you can't. And obviously Mark can't have everybody walking by and taking an orange, but I think he should feel like, I think if I had a nice orange tree and occasionally people came and took an orange or 2 oranges were there 2 people, I would think, look at my orange tree, giving bounty to the neighborhood.
Well, here's the other thing, is that for whatever reason, the fruit that grows on your tree is never that good. So I don't think Mark is going to miss the orange. It's there in California, by the way, there are plenty of other oranges, and they're good oranges. And it's great to have the tree, and it's great to have the oranges, and it looks nice. And whenever I have a small orange tree, whenever I pick an orange or it falls off and I come inside, I'm proud of the orange, and then it's awful. So I don't think that Mark is. I think it's more just about the sport. He also seems to have a tremendous amount of time.
Yeah, totally.
Like checking on your house, controlling the orange thievery that's going on in the neighborhood. I think that there's a Mark story here too.
Yeah, he's got does he have a Ring doorbell trained on the tree?
Right.
Yeah. No. I don't think he has one or needs one.
There's motion at your tree.
He's a human Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
And so in fact, one day I was walking by or I was walking around the neighborhood. He happened to be coming by, and he pointed at me and went like this, like I can't do it, but like oh no, maybe it was like this,
right?
Hey, like I'm watching you, and I was like, I know, Mark.
Yeah.
Can you try to do it again the other way?
I'm such a spaz. Anyway, but Mark watches in a good way. He's the watcher. He's the watchman on the wall. Okay.
He actually threw up the white power sign.
I know, right? I accidentally. All right. Anyway, there's a couple more angles to this already fun story, but I'm deeply amused by how you guys are covering it. First of all, for God's sake, how many times do I tell you that one was not Mark's tree? I've said it like 3 times, and you guys like, look, Mark's got to let this go. Okay. So number 2, I like your rule about, well, if you're just walking by and you have no bag, the no bag rule, then and you're in the mood for an orange, and you and Michael take it, well, that's just a crime of passion fruit, right? And so that's fine. Yeah. But the bag is critical. Well, as it turns out, you're right. The bag is critical. I think I sprained my forearms trying to do this. I'm in some pain. Anyways, so the first lady that Mark caught at his house had brought a bag that was specifically to carry Mark's oranges. There was she had nothing in it. There was no other reason for it.
But you said one of these bags. So this woman who stole the orange from not Mark, but she said one fell out. So she evidently had some sort of carrying receptacle as well.
Well, that leads to why I didn't approach her, or one of the reasons I didn't approach her.
Can't believe there was a detail you left out, but go ahead. Yeah.
Well, look, this is an important crime here. We got to break it down. Oh, I should have started recording. That's what I should have done. Then I could have brought the Zapruder film here, or the Zayuger film, and we could have, seen the. Oh, I could have caught the orange falling out in live action. Oh, that would have been amazing. Anyways,
you wouldn't see the orange thief on the grassy knoll, and there would be a lot of controversy.
No question. And the orange fell out and to the left, out and to the left. So as it fell out of her. She had kind of two bags, and one was larger and was like what do we call them? Rollaways, the bags that roll, which is now every bag.
No, you mean she was like pulling it or something?
Yeah, like it's a suitcase, like a roller board.
Yeah, almost. Yeah,
but it's open. Like it's like what somebody might take to the store and then walk home with. Maybe that's what I'm imagining.
Yeah, something like that. But it was.
I don't know what the roller thing is. Is it like one of those carts that you bring to the market or to the airport, like a roller bag?
Yeah, well, that's the great mystery of this, and I do not remember exactly it. And this is so important. But I feel like it was a combination of the two. It was like, oh, okay, that's a bag that has a zipper and stuff, so it looks like something you might take to the airport. But it was being carried in a way that it was like one of those grocery ones, right? In my memory, and so I can't remember if it was the grocery one or the thing, or some sort of weird.
But she had a
orange stealing hybrid.
Yeah, how many oranges did she take?
So I'm not sure because I caught the latter half of the actual crime, and when she was in the yard, and she put a bunch of oranges, and then left without being careful, but not in a hurry. So all those clues led me to believe she's not altogether there. Like there's something. Yeah, she's not a mastermind criminal, right? So given the weird nature of the bag, the weird nature of her non-panic thievery, right? And her complete, like, she ignored the stink eye so hard, like that it was like non-human the way she ignored it. If somebody's giving me a quarter of a stink eye, I'm like trying to figure out what's going on, super defensive. She was getting a 200% stink eye and couldn't care less. That all led me to the conclusion of I'm not going to have a productive conversation with this woman. Which then only left me with the question of, do I take the orange or don't I? Right? Because I decided I'm not gonna tell her you dropped the orange that you stole, right? So I think it's a perfectly good orange going to waste.
Ben's point there is that no one should let the orange go to waste. Even Mark or not Mark wouldn't want that to happen at that point.
Yeah, but what if not Mark comes out and thinks I'm an accomplice? Or he catches me orange-handed.
That's what would have happened. That would happen to like Larry David, right?
That's what would happen to Larry David.
Yes.
No.
But we're partly Larry David. That would happen to us.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't do anything?
No, I just rushed home and wrote down the notes so I didn't forget to tell you guys about it on Old School.
Could you go outside and get the orange now while we wait?
It's a couple days ago, so probably not in the best of shape.
Okay.
Maybe that woman has a relationship with not Mark, like an orange taking relationship where she comes by every week and takes a few oranges. I mean, how many oranges can you get at a time? Like if somebody takes, how many oranges are on a regular orange tree? Like,
the not Mark orange tree is huge. That one has like, I don't know, probably over 100 oranges.
So he's fine.
He's totally fine. That's not the point. The point is, it's a matter of principle, Michael.
What would happen if somebody took all 100 oranges? How long would it be before there were more oranges on the tree? Anybody know?
I'm not an orange expert, to be honest with you. I'm gonna lay all my cards on the table and say that's not my strong suit. But doesn't everything take a year?
No.
Yeah,
that I'm sure of. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I told you I delivered. Not an orange expert.
No, you're not.
I mean, I'm not an orange expert either, but I'm very confident in my no answer. Yeah.
Right, I am too.
Yeah, you guys were equally confident, which led me to the same conclusion as not taking the orange
The idea
or at least not mentioning the orange. No, there's something afoot here. They seem to know better than I do.
I love the idea that everything takes a year. It's just.
By the way, I'm 51 years old. I've assumed that my whole life, and my dad was a farmer, a literal farmer. I never bothered to ask, hey, Dad, how often did olives grow in? Never thought about it.
Yeah.
How slow does somebody have to be going on a side street for you to pass them?
Oh, good question. 12 miles per hour.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I'm
closer
to 20.
Yeah, I'm closer to 20 because I think I passed somebody at like 17 or 18, but it was a very long block. And they were hewing very close to the right side, like they were looking for parking, but they weren't. They were just terrified of every moment.
Or they're the whole new thing that happens is they're DoorDash people. Everybody's delivering something, and they don't know exactly where they're going, and it slows everybody down on the side street.
We made eye contact as she turned in ahead of me. She made a right turn on the street I was crossing. I had it was a four-way stop, and she makes the right, and we made eye contact, and she looked at me like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know, nothing." And then I was like, "Super." She was obviously but there was inconceivable that there would be ill will toward me in this circumstance.
Well, there's always ill will toward the passer, no matter what.
But I didn't pass. Oh, then I passed. No, I'm talking about when she just made the turn, and then she goes in ahead of me, and then I had to go through 2 blocks where she's going.
Right.
15 miles an hour, right, on the street. You can go 30. I got you. You look around for kids and dogs. You pay attention.
Maybe looking for orange trees.
Maybe she was looking for orange trees.
Did she have a bag on her?
She had this weird rolly bag. It looked like something you'd take to the airport, but in a kind of a go to the grocery store way. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like with the zipper?
Yeah, like with a zipper, like it was a for luggage, but also for groceries. I think you know what I'm saying. I think I've described it pretty well.
She had her accepted.
So you left out a critical element, Ben.
What's that?
The hewing to the right. So when she goes slowly to the right, well, I then go, oh, okay. It doesn't matter if it's DoorDash or she's elderly or.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. Except again, it was a soft hew. Like I think I was reading into it to suit my own purposes.
I see.
I don't think she really was. I think she was driving slow and driving to the right because she doesn't know how to drive.
No, but that does make a difference though. So I like how frank you were with yourself when you realized you might be inventing that hue. But yeah, when folks,
Hugh Grant, right? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah.
I definitely was more a Hugh Downs move than well, obviously a Hugh Grant move. I would have stopped and picked her up. Yeah.
I thought you were going for a pun on. He granted himself a hue, and so that's where you were going with it. But no,
because that doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Well, it took me a long time, Cenk. I never would have done that.
That's true. On the other hand, do bags that are suitcases / shopping carts make sense? No. Okay. So, anyways, but yeah, in fact, that happened recently. Somebody was going a little slow, and the minute they started going towards the curb a little bit, I was like, "That's it. They're going towards the curb. Gone." Right. Yeah. And so that one is settled. But something hilarious has happened here. So, Michael, since you last were on Old School, we've started something new where I sometimes read the member comments or super chat comments, but not all the time. Whenever I feel like it, right? This nonsense show has all of a sudden sparked a fire on the internet. So here are new members for no reason on YouTube. Murphy, Mick Shimo 77, Gary Cole, Arlene Williams, TKH 96203. That sounds like a Russian bot, and they upgraded membership to TYT Premium. That's amazing. Thank you for the upgrade. Okay. And Lover Blue 79, Ryan LeBlanc. All these, Susan Buccineri, what is going on? People can't get enough of the orange stories here. And
could just be me.
Yeah, hold on, I'm getting to that, which is hilarious as well. Another name wrote in, smash that like button, and gave $5 on Super Chat to say smash that like button for us. So amazing. And then they also said, animatronic honeysuckle, because animatronic is another word that I find to be funny and often cannot say. So that's a twofer. And then Vicky Gray just gave $10 because obviously this conversation is amazing. So $10 right there. Lots of love on Twitch, of course. Sunshine Dragon said, I had a walnut tree and would have loved for someone to take them hard on the lawnmower. Right. Yeah, that's true, man. I never thought about that. Then we go to our members. And Pale Blue Dot says, damn it, my gut told me Michael would be here tonight, and I'm 20 minutes late.
Yeah. Let me assure you, you didn't miss anything.
Right.
Yeah, you're okay. Yeah.
It was a bit of a Dusseldorf conversation, but so Navinix wrote, fun fact, Michael Schur is my first celeb sighting when I moved to LA in 2017. Oh.
Right.
You were a celeb sighting. Look at that.
Michael Schur, creator of Parks and Rec, I think.
Yeah, and apparently on sold to Peacock Network, a television version of Field of Dreams. That's the big news today from Michael Schur. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Oh, and somebody's got, speaking of how I say things, I got a great comment coming up on Twitch. But last one here from the members for now. Actually, I'll do two. Felicia says, hello to you, IT. Great to see Michael and Cenk and Ben. Again, Michael first. I love what a star you are on Old School. This is great. And Just Be Anti-Racist said, here's a great word that's also my favorite word, kerfuffle. Super fun to say. Jess, as always, you nailed it. There's no one in their right mind doesn't think kerfuffle is a fun word.
Right, but here's the difference. Here's why Dusseldorf is more fun, because kerfuffle is sort of universally it sounds so silly. It sounds made up. And so I'm just expressing a greater admiration for the words.
There's not a much more fun word to say in English than
right. That's right. Than kerfuffle. And in fact, every time you hear it, it's hard to believe that it's an actual word.
Total.
Yeah.
That's funny. So we've been doing more emojis, especially for the YouTube members and Twitch and stuff. So Postal Wench wrote it on Twitch, gave 1,000 bits too, so we appreciate it. Said this old lady wants a Ben emoji. Okay, all right. Just don't drop it after you take it. Okay, we'll have to come up with a Ben emoji. I like that idea. Thank you. Seriously,
popular with the old ladies, the Ben emojis.
I had here, not a sponsor, Panda Express. I went there for dinner. I had some business to attend to in the Valley, and there's a very good Panda Express on Cahuenga. And Panda Express, they figured something out. They just did. It's good, right? I don't know, it's not authentic Chinese food or anything, but it's a nice flavor thing that happens. And I went, and there's a guy, as I'm getting ready to order, there's a guy there, we're masked up, both of us, and he's like, you look like that guy. Are you an actor? Took him about 38 seconds to get where I just got. And I'm like, I don't really know what to say here. Like,
I do.
Right, what?
Yeah, it happened to me recently. And in fact, it happens fairly regularly, but this time he gave me a fake name. It was great. And he's like, oh, I know you, man. Really like your show. It's on the internet, right? Serge. Good to see you, Serge.
That might have been the name that Oliver Stone gave me. It was so random. But so he says, and I go, no, and then I can't bear it anymore. And I go, you probably watch old movies. Nope. Right. And then he goes, wait a minute, you're a comedian. And I'm like, no. And he goes, TYT. And I go, you're thinking of Jimmy Dore, right? Because it's not like I've never been confused for Jimmy.
Really?
Yeah. No. And he goes, no, I know Jimmy. I'm done with Jimmy.
Oh, I love this guy.
Yeah, right. And he, you know what he said? He goes, I don't go for that right wing nonsense. That's what he said.
Oh, double.
I go, and I go, oh, well, I get confused with Jimmy, and and so I thought maybe that's what it was. He goes, no, help me. And I tell him my name. He goes, oh yeah, sure, of course, Ben, the Young Turks. He goes, I've been a member for 15 years since I was in college.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
This guy's this guy's the kerfuffle of humans.
Yeah, and and then I had about 12 minutes to eat so I could get back in time to not be late. I made it, by the way. It was still late, but I was in the house.
I don't think that's how it works, but yeah.
No, what do you mean that's not how it works?
Like, I'm late to being on air, but don't worry, I'm in the house.
Oh no, I'm not. It wasn't a don't worry. I just mean like I accomplished my goal. I was back by 6:42. Didn't matter. Still late. I just can't get it together. But he did. He was very nice. I have his card, and if we ever need music composed, we should use my new friend Daryl. But after expressing that I had about 11 minutes to eat before I have to go back and do a show with Cenk, which excited him, of course, right? Well, he says he had a lot of questions.
Well, I have 50 years of membership. Yeah. You know what? That's, if you told me I'm late to old school because of traffic, I'd be like, oh, please, piss off, right? But if you say I'm late because I ran into a 15-year member, oh sure, okay, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm late because I couldn't figure out how to get everything I needed to get done into those 18 minutes. When obviously one of the choices was do 3 of them after.
Yes.
But
yes,
yeah, right, yeah. But
no, I learned that lesson a long time ago.
Yeah, sometimes I get it, and then sometimes I think, no, I got it. I can do them all. This is not a problem. I got it. Yeah.
Taking nothing away from the guy, a 15-year member should have known who you were right away.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, no, by the way, when people hesitate, I just fill in the blank for them. I don't mess around. I'm like, Cenk, I do a show called The Young Turks. They're like, yeah, that's it, right? So what are we wasting everybody's time with? Like, yeah. And if it's not that, on the 1 out of 50 times that it's not that, so what? Right. Oh no, I was thinking of somebody else. Oh, okay, good luck.
Well, what is significant about him is he had no idea what TCM is anything. It's everything he knew from the Young Turks.
Yep. Okay, now you guys are gonna love this. Lori writes in, someone needs to address how Cenk says "faw." I'm begging. Do I say faw? F-A-U-X.
Oh, faux.
Faux. It's faux.
It's faux. It's not faw.
It's faux like my enemy. Yeah.
Never knew that.
Yeah.
Right. Lori, I owe you a debt of gratitude. 40% of the reason for old school is to correct the way I say things.
But pho, P-H-O, is the Vietnamese noodle.
Right, and that looks like pho, but it's not. That's pho.
Right.
That for sure, yeah. I've got a lot of bad jokes today. Which doesn't separate it from many other days. Okay, so now, by the way, though, look at redemption. Our head of programming has called in for this important, or texted in for this important breaking news update. For ripe oranges to mature after tree blossoms takes 7 to 15 months.
About a year.
Look, I'm not saying I'm vindicated. I'm just reading text. That's all.
Hey. Yeah. So you take an orange, the orange will not grow in that orange's place for 7 to 15 months. It's a long time to wait. They should not take the oranges. He's going to have to post a guard. I sort of had them growing back within a few months.
Yeah.
During the growing season. Now we're quickly revealing how little we know, because I've just decided there's some season when they grow. I'm sure there is, but like when it's warm, probably, or when it rains, perhaps. I don't know. One of those two. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're thinking they grow a lot in Florida, so probably they're warm and rain makes sense.
But we know when there's a frost in Florida, and every network news division sends a reporter to Florida where it was 29 degrees outside of Jacksonville.
Jeopardizing this year's harvest. That's right. And then there's shots of like all these oranges being sort of thrown away because they're no good. Like, yeah. Frosty, and a frosty orange, like a little orange with a little frost on it hanging from a tree. Yeah, if the weather doesn't break soon, all of us can expect to pay a bit more for orange juice at the grocery store this year. Outside of Jacksonville, Florida, I'm Ben Mankiewicz, CBS News. That's sort of how they are. Yeah.
That was only 101% on. Yeah, like that was spot on, exactly how they would do it. Now, partly because of old school, partly because of all these interviews that I did, anytime anybody mentions Florida, I think, there goes Big Sugar again. Michael, you cover politics a lot. You know, I don't know why I run into that topic so often on the conversation, but is Big Sugar a big deal? Is that a big thing out? Or
it is a big thing. What's surprising about it is, of all the stories in Florida, it isn't as big as its reputation has it being right now. I mean, it does play into politics, and Big Sugar controls a lot in Florida, but you never go to Florida for a Big Sugar story. You go there for climate, you go there for weather, you go there for politics. Big Sugar plays a little bit. You have some people that are in bed with Big Sugar, which doesn't sound half bad, but but it's not. It doesn't. It has a great publicist.
So I love that, because who are you in bed with? Big Sugar. Oh, good for you.
Well done.
There's no way Big Sugar isn't fun. That's exactly right. Like he or she could be many other things, but fun is definitely in that category of things that Big Sugar is. So now we're almost out of time for the segment that's free for everybody. We got a whole new, whole other episode, also 45 minutes for the members. So check that out, tyt.com/join. Or if you're watching on YouTube, hit the join button below. If you're on Amazon, you go to tyt.com/prime. Now, if you're on Amazon, if you're on Twitch, or even if you're not on Twitch, but you have Amazon Prime, go to tyt.com/prime. And you can actually get us Jeff Bezos's money. It's free to you since you already have Amazon Prime, but we actually get the money. That's called Bezos Bucks. So it is a very slow form of wealth redistribution. So big fans of it here. Check it out at tyt.com/prime. Anyways, now there's 1 minute left, but there's two things I want to talk about, and I guess we'll save it for the next episode. Is the value of ha-has, depending on who gives them on the text, right? Is a ha-ha from Ben or Michael more valuable than a ha-ha from Mark Thompson?
Yes.
Yeah,
of course it is.
Hold it. Save it for the show, the next show.
You could text, hey, it's pretty cold out today. You get a ha-ha from Mark.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Okay, hold on. Okay, but that's why we love Mark.
My gout is acting up today. I'm not going to be able to go to dinner.
Right. We are far more judicious with our ha-has.
Yes, so that conversation is happening just for the members. Sorry if you're not a member, you're gonna miss that one. Okay, and also I'm now a new fan of, although it's gotten delayed now, revenge everything. Okay, minus porn. So revenge parties, revenge dinners. I'll explain what that means, but we gotta go. All right, so tyt.com/join to get those scintillating / irrelevant conversations, but they're fun. They're kind of like honeysuckle. You're not really eating it, but it's kind of fun. Or hit the join button below if you're watching on YouTube. All right, much love, members. We'll see you in a minute. All right, back on old school for the members, Ben, Cenk, and Michael with you guys. All right, so I'm on to something with the value of the ha-has, right? So I use Mark Thompson as an example because he's a terrific guy, and he'll give a ha-ha to almost anything, right? But when you get a ha-ha from someone, do you automatically in your head calculate how valuable that ha-ha is, depending on the person sending it?
It's a toughie. I don't think about a whole lot of value there. What I think of when I get a ha-ha is actually the person laughing. So if I write something that's funny or whatever, and Ben Ben ha-has it, I imagine Ben laughing at it, and it makes me laugh. So it's something that was funny that I thought was funny. Maybe only Ben thought was funny too. But but when you write something that's funny and Mark Thompson doesn't give you a ha-ha,
it's a little devastating.
The verse happens. It's horrible.
Yeah, and you almost want Mark to be in some sort of trouble.
Right.
Well, you know what? Maybe he's had a car accident. Right. You know, he can't get to his phone. Something terrible's happened.
Right.
Yeah.
You text him on your solo thread with him. You're like, you okay?
So that's a fascinating thing. I didn't think about it that way, but that's totally true. That if you're too liberal with your ha-has, then it almost becomes an obligation. And people take offense if you don't ha-ha them.
Also, Mark will sometimes come back in a conversation like an hour later and start ha-haing texts.
Yeah. And then when he skips your text,
I mean, it's such a front. It's almost funny, right? Because he's made some calculation. I don't. So it depends really on what the conversation is. Like I'm surprisingly well adjusted to the responses to what, like in the giant group text that all of us we're on a couple of group texts together, but we're on a big one, which includes mostly my friends from Washington and then sort of people who've been added onto that group. And sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's political and whatever. You guys know it, obviously, I'm telling other people. But then there'll be like, I can handle when I say something and there's no response to it, right? If for whatever reason, like on Twitter, one negative comment can set me off, right? Whereas here, I can handle it pretty well. But then I'll go back and I'll look at some of the other things that got ha-ha'd, and I'm like, what do you guys just not get what I said? Was it over your freaking head, Matt Hirsch? Like.
What always happens to me, because it usually is for their head, and it's really obtuse, and that's why.
Yeah,
but anyway, but I handle it better than I do on Twitter when something negative happens.
See, now I'm the reverse because I'm Twitter proof now. I've been attacked so many times in so many different ways that like it's borderline famous, right? I explained on a different old school. Like I'm like Miami. I have dry day flooding, where my name will start trending when I haven't even said anything on Twitter. That's because like some rando decided to attack me, and then everybody joined in. But I like to think that I bring Twitter together. The right wing, the left wing, and the middle all hate me.
But honestly, does it ever hurt? I mean, it has to some level sometimes, right?
It does. Well, I'm going to answer for Cenk. Sometimes, I don't know if hurt is the right word, but sometimes you get irritated. Like you get frustrated by it.
Right? Like when somebody answers a question that you were asking of someone else.
When someone steals your orange and then drops it, thereby completely wasting it.
Right.
So, well, it's a little bit complicated. So I'll bother to go into detail because it's old school.
Should have just taken my answer, Michael. You instantly regret it. You made fun of it. Now look what you got. Yeah,
I've had a few.
So
I was just thinking of the audience.
Yeah, just trying to get through it, Michael. That's all he was trying to do.
Okay? I understand. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess that makes sense, Ben.
So look, here's the deal. In the beginning, did it bother me? Like in the beginning, like 17 years ago or whatever? Of course, because I'm a normal person, and when people weirdly insult you, especially with things that are not true, of course it bothers you, right? And then I became immune to that. And then the lines got more specific, and they were so outrageous, and you like, well, now you're stuck. You either don't respond and then people believe it, or you do respond and now you're in a mud fight with trolls, right? And so then I got used to that. I mean, the lies were so over the top and so frequent that I was like, no, okay, I guess those are things that are just gonna stand as fake memes and all that stuff, right? And then the last two things that now made me, Teflon on Twitter or whatever is so the latest Jimmy stuff, right? So number one, the thing that got to me was a couple of viewers that I knew to be viewers, right? The rest were BS, which is the second part that I'm gonna get to, right? But there's a couple of names that I actually recognized, and I was like, oh guys, you got misled. You're good people. Don't. And then they're vitriolic in the same way that Jimmy is. I'm like, no. So that one hurt a little bit on literally two specific people, right? And then, but then the last thing that frustrated me, and then I'm now beyond, was the troll farms. And so and people believe that they're real when they have because they don't know, and troll farm sounds conspiratorial, right? And so, in fact, I bet that you guys have some degree of difficulty in believing it. If I was in your situation, I would have some difficulty in believing it. But you see the patterns over and over again, same kind of thing, and that's why I was kidding around earlier. They usually have numbers at the end of their names. They usually signed up this month or last month, and they always do the same themes, right? And so, but the fact that other people were believing the troll farm was like, guys, no, they're not real. Oh, God damn it. And if you say they're not real, they're like, oh, right, okay, right. But now I'm past those two, because I'm like, man, whatever, troll farm, okay. And I never blocked anyone. And then a couple of people, Anna, and then one other person, I forgot who, convinced me to block people. Oh, it's a pleasure. I was wrong the whole time. Block. Oh, they're gone. Okay, yeah. and we're done with them.
I don't think I still haven't blocked anybody, but I sense that if you start to do it, it's probably feels pretty good.
You've never blocked anybody?
No.
I block people. I mute people. You mute people.
I've muted people. I've muted a number of former TYT employees.
Because you mute the person who follows you, but you don't want to block them or unfollow. Right. You just mute them. It's easy.
That's right.
That's interesting. That's another layer of complexity to this conversation. But anyways, but the key is to know what it is, understand it, live with it, and move on with your life. And so now it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me at all. Even the former viewers, I'm like, oh, I get it, man. They're super pissed about the situation, and they're right to be pissed about the state of American politics, etc. And they got taken in by basically a con man, right? And it happens. They're not bad people. It just happens, right? Because you're so mad, and he takes advantage of your legitimate anger and your righteous anger, and profits off of it, and is nothing constructive, etc. So I'm super zen. You guys, like, if the viewers that watched or the listeners that watched the last Old School, partly know where that comes from. You guys are going to be thrilled to find out that I had like a full Old School episode, both episodes, with Mark Thompson, basically about philosophy.
About what?
Philosophy.
Oh, philosophy for like the whole hour and a half?
Yeah. How happy are you that you missed it?
Damn it. Did you guys talk about Kierkegaard?
No. Ben, even better. It was only my philosophical ideas.
Oh my goodness! Well, what a loss! What a loss! Yeah.
Can those still be? Can they still be watched?
Yeah, I can still get those, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think you guys are members, so I think you can access that. Yeah,
that's where you'd be wrong.
You'd be wrong twice. You're 0 for 2.
All right, that's it. Give me the goddamn oranges back.
Well, we're members, but that's mostly because of my wife. She came in a member.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
you married a member.
My ex-wife.
Huh?
Your
What'd you
ex-wife's a member?
No, she's not.
Yeah,
No,
no way.
I did not think she was. That was actually one of the driest jokes you've ever made.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was funny. Okay. So, anyways, okay. So next topic was the revenge parties, etc. So for a brief moment there in the sunshine, when it looked like coronavirus had died off, at least in LA, before the Delta variant and the unvaccinated people hit us again. Everybody was having revenge something or other, right? Oh, let's have a revenge dinner or a revenge party, revenge shopping, and
revenge dinner, like a revenge against the virus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, and so I love that, and I was actually gonna ask you guys if you wanted to have like a revenge steak dinner, partly against coronavirus, partly against Mark Thompson, partly against cows. So no, but I love the concept, right? Like,
yeah. We can still do it.
coronavirus. Let's go out and have dinner, right?
Well, revenge poker would really be great.
Yeah, revenge poker would be fantastic.
Yeah. Oh my God, revenge poker at Mark's. That would be awesome.
Yeah, revenge poker, right outside at Mark's. Yeah, we don't even have to eat meat. We can throw them a bone.
You can't.
Well, not a bone.
Not a bone.
Yeah, it's not a bone.
An orange
doesn't work though, so you can't anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the concept, and the other thing I thought of is revenge football at Michael's. Like, God, Michael, we have not done that in forever.
In a very long time.
Yeah, and what do you guys think? I mean, at this point, we're all vaccinated, right?
Yeah.
Do you see any downside to a group of vaccinated folks getting together inside someone's house?
I don't. No.
I mean, no.
I think you got to trust that the people have been responsible, right? They weren't careless. But yeah, no, I think obviously we know that it's possible it could spread that way, right? But we're all vaccinated, so we're unbelievably unlikely to get anything other than pretty sick. And even if they did the terrible thing, which is gave it to our unvaccinated children, in the case of Cenk and I with kids who are too young to get vaccinated, you read horror stories, but the fact is that kids are, they still are coming through it very well.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Good.
We're on the air. The AP is reporting that, that boosters are recommended now at 8 months. So 8 months after your second vaccination, they are recommending you get a booster.
All right. Well, I'll go. Obviously.
So yeah, if you get a booster, Ben, you can come over for football.
Okay.
By the way, I will point out that cards. Is the example that an early group of scientists had been using in a study done prior to COVID about disease spread, and they used a card game to do it because everybody's sitting close together and there's frequently yelling and obviously talking and then the ultimate is handling the same cards and chips and then touching faces. So that's obviously we're gonna do it anyway, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Right.
I thought you were gonna end it with, so it might not be in the cards.
No.
Okay.
No. Go into that. I think that was even a possibility.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
In the last hour when you were talking and nobody heard you say he was caught orange-handed,
yeah, that was good. I did. That was great. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm getting a ha-ha to you guys. And
yeah, that was but I mean, I think you got to understand the sort of conversational way that you brought in got him orange-handed and the not in the cards line. Although it could be good, I suppose. Again, but it's all we really had to wait for I think Michael to do it. That's what makes it good. Yeah.
Yeah. No. By the way, I'm kidding around about kidding around. No, the bad jokes tonight have been like almost purposely bad. Yes, I hear you. So I'm not unaware of it, as I am with most of my downsides, which leads us to the next topic. So I am what others would describe as strangely proud of things. Okay, and part of my thesis, which I'm not positive about, and I want to run by you guys, is that guys are all secretly proud of it. I'm just the only ass who's willing to vocalize. Okay, so my wife does not like having a lot of leftovers in the fridge. So the other day, we had bought this stuff from a Japanese market of like 2 different containers of sushi and 2 different containers of finger sandwiches. Why are there delicious finger sandwiches at a Japanese market? I don't know, but I love it. Okay, there's finger sandwiches, one of the best things on earth. One of the most underrated. I can go on and on. So,
isn't it really? It's really. I mean, you have to know what's in them. I mean, not all finger sandwiches can possibly be good. I would think the same sandwich standard would apply.
No, actually, as it turns out, that's not correct. Almost all finger sandwiches are good. Even some, like, forgetting there's one finger sandwich that I don't love, but even that I go, well, it is a finger sandwich, so it does taste better.
That was funny. Yeah.
So egg salad's great, tuna fish is great on finger sandwiches, little ham and cheese never hurt anybody. A little salmon finger sandwich.
The British, when they get into the watercress and butter and those sorts of things.
Oh, love it. Can't get enough of it. Right. The English invented finger sandwiches. I don't know if that's true, but it probably is.
Maybe the Japanese did.
The cream cheese and cucumber finger sandwiches is a very strong sandwich.
Oh, what's the bad one?
I can't remember it, and I think I might have had it in England, but
you know it's true because Cenk, I would never eat a ham and cheese sandwich unless it were somehow French, and I don't say that to be an ass. I say that because it's just like you go to that French place that was in Culver City, and you got me to eat the ham and cheese. Oh. Right, it was great, right? But I would never I've never gotten a ham and cheese. I don't like ham, right? And except so, but a ham and cheese finger sandwiches, I feel like I'd eat 4.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's by the way tragedy. One of the tragedies of coronavirus is that Dijonais is closed down. I drove by it the other day and it's closed.
It's closed. There's a place called Clark Street, which they should be paying old school for this, but I won't make them. They've opened up in the LA area and they make their own baguette and the bread is fantastic and they make the French ham sandwich and it's very good.
Right.
I wonder if they could serve twostrongcoffee.com/TYT to make up for that plug.
Or the Panda.
Or Michael, you're going in and out, so I missed a couple of things you said. That last thing you said, I don't care. But I did want to go back to, you said it's not likely to be the English who invented finger sandwiches, and you instantly, I'm super curious, who do you think did?
No, I didn't say it's not likely. I said it could have been the Japanese because you find them in the Japanese market. That's all I was saying. Yeah,
I got you. That is, of course, not likely. I think you might have known that. Seriously. Seriously, I love tea parties. So this is an unusual fact about me, but if you think about it, so if you go to the UK and you go to one of their, it's not really a party. I mean, so it could be these days could be a revenge tea party, but
after tea, it's not called a tea party. It's just there are places that serve afternoon tea in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, tea parties are in fact for little girls.
Yeah.
And come to think of it, the English probably not fond of tea parties.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
So, but yes, afternoon tea because it's got finger sandwiches and scones.
Right. It's fantastic. And then they bring all this pastry afterwards.
Oh.
So as if the scone wasn't the pastry. It's like, oh my God, there's still pastry.
Do the English eat dinner very late?
Because well, I don't think afternoon tea like that, the full afternoon tea is something that they have on
right, but you couldn't possibly have dinner that night.
No, you couldn't. Well,
that
you
would
could.
be it. Yeah.
Every time I've had afternoon tea, I've also had dinner. But I don't think that's something like they do have tea in the afternoon, but they don't always have finger sandwiches.
You don't have the finger sandwiches and the scones and the pastries.
Right.
Yeah, there's so many funny
and
things.
Tea with milk and sugar, like that's also filling.
Yeah. So like it's culture is a really fascinating thing, right? Because in Turkey they have afternoon tea, and it is almost certainly because of the British. Not that the British ever occupied Turkey, and Turks already love tea, so they don't need an excuse for tea. But they literally call it afternoon tea. Sometimes they'll call it a tea party.
Yeah.
Okay, but seriously, they call it afternoon tea, and I suspect that's because of the British. And then I recently read up on chocolate, coffee, and tea for different reasons at different times. But it turns out they're all discovered like 30 years ago, and like nothing, they didn't exist. And then all of a sudden, the entire world loved them and couldn't get enough of them. And I had always assumed that chocolate and coffee and tea have been around for millennia, right? And obviously I'm exaggerating by 30 years, but I'm not exaggerating by that much. It's like in the 1800s, they're like, has anybody heard of this fucking thing called chocolate? Holy shit, right? And then it spreads like wildfire everywhere. It might have been like as late as 1880. I'm positive I'm making that up, but you see my point.
Yeah, of course, everything's we went for millennia where in a world where there was some interconnectivity, and nobody ate anything that tasted good ever. I mean, that's why they had the Spice Wars, because it was like, oh my God, this is so incredibly valuable. We put this on food, and this incredibly thing that we just have to do became something that's fun to do, right?
Yeah, 100%. And all of that is shockingly new. Like it was like 200-300 years ago or something. I mean, like salt goes all the way back, but it was like a really like high value commodity, right? Like, oh, that son of a bitch has got salt. Ooh, fancy, right? And only recently did it was like, you tell me middle class folks can have salt? Right? So seeing all those different stories at different times made me realize, oh, like that whole, I mean, I already knew this because of air conditioning, but that whole, would you travel to the past or to the future? Dude, you go 200 years into the past and you ain't coming back. It was a fucking disaster.
I know, but I want to go back. I want to go back 150 years, as I've said before, into the old West. But I get to come with like $500.
Yeah,
I just feel you live like a king.
Yeah,
that's true. It still doesn't solve the air conditioning problem.
No, I'd go in the fall.
I want to go to just before they invented social media.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Can we just go back to 2004?
Yeah. Just sit there.
Yeah. I'll go back to just when there's no when I can't be reached. I'm out and I can't be reached.
Yeah. I want to go back to when Sports Center tells me who won.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is ancient.
I want to go back to where I have to buy the Washington Star, the afternoon paper, to get the A's box score.
Yeah,
that was pretty.
In the morning paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another recent discovery I had, which is I always knew they had the morning paper and the afternoon paper, but I never thought about it, right? And then probably at the museum, I saw a couple of years ago, they're like, that's because that was the only news available. And so since they didn't have TV or even radio, if you go back far enough, people needed the afternoon news. Otherwise they had no news.
That's right, you didn't have any news for 24 hours. Yeah, the afternoon paper was the best. Nothing made my dad happier than the afternoon paper.
But it was fun getting the afternoon paper and seeing the stuff that was also in the morning paper. It's like, oh, I already saw that.
Yeah, I got it. It wasn't all new.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. You sort of felt a little gypped by the afternoon paper too.
I mean, the afternoon paper was just an excuse for the sports section. That was
no question. That's what it was all about.
As opposed to the morning paper, which was about the sports section.
You guys are out old schooling me because I threw that as like a throwback thing. Like you guys actually got the afternoon paper. I've never gotten an afternoon paper in my life.
Yeah, the Washington Star went out of business in 1982, I think.
And not only that, Cenk, and growing up in New York City, like I'd go out of school, I'd leave school in the afternoon, and by the time I got home or whatever, they're actually people. This must sound so freaking old, but people on the guys on the street with the apron selling the paper.
What afternoon paper was the Newsday an afternoon paper?
It was the Post and the Daily News had afternoon editions.
They had afternoon editions, sorry. Yeah.
And then the Trib, something called the Trib, not the Herald Tribune. It was an actual new paper called the Trib, which didn't last very long. It had an afternoon version as well.
Why did they get tribbed up?
No.
So far, only Thompson would ha that.
I don't even think he would. He'd skip right over it.
You know what I realized as I was doing that? I was like, oh, it's funny how many jokes I don't say because I know that like they goes through my head, right? And I was like,
is how many you do say?
Because I did the trimmed up thing for you guys because of today, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I actually do think that. And like I'm constantly cycling through bad jokes that I don't say. Imagine the ones I don't say. So, but I want to go back to being proud, right?
Yeah.
So since my wife doesn't like the leftovers clogging up the refrigerator, I thought to put the finger sandwiches from the two different containers, since I had eaten half of both, into one container.
Smart.
And the same with the sushi. And I looked at her and I was like, I mean, like, you gotta give it to me. I mean, this is something, right? Now, I know that it's silly. Of course, you're not supposed to say that. That's absurd to be proud of that. But are you, Michael? We've lost Ben, of course.
Yeah.
But are you also secretly proud of things like that?
Yeah, and little moments of tiny genius are among the most, proud moments that a man can have, I think. And I think, and I say a man too, because I feel like there's, I don't, men are more impressed by dumb stuff, right? And it's really dumb to be proud of your ingenious idea of putting the leftovers, consolidating them into one thing. But yeah, those little moments are disproportionately exciting.
Thank you. Finally, someone acknowledges it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to other things like that. But figuring out, I remember one thing, figuring out when you rent a car that there's a little arrow that tells you what side the gas tank is on when you're refilling it. When I saw that on the fuel gauge, and you don't know that.
No, when you said it, I was reminded that someone once told me that, and then realized in that half a second that I had instantly forgotten it. Right. And I was mad at myself for forgetting it because it's such a revelation, and also thought, good on Michael. I'm kind of proud of him. All in half a second. Yeah. And I threw out a bad joke, all in that half a second.
Perfect. Right, and to the credit of every female in the world, they would think that that's the stupidest thing in the whole world, and it is.
But you just give it to us. Be like, atta boy. Like, okay, you're right. The cat that is on that side.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those little dumb victories.
Yeah. So
what did Wendy say? Was there just nothing?
No, she was like, are you serious?
Which is exactly what she should say. But you should
was like,
yes.
Yeah. And I explained to her that I was not. And she said, "You're lying." And I said, "Well, that's half true." And I said, "Yeah, I am actually proud of it,
Right.
but me verbalizing it is the joke part because I know it's silly to be proud of that."
Yeah. Do you give yourself a little when something like that happens, when you don't verbalize it? Do you verbalize it to yourself out loud, tinily?
No, I don't think I do, but that's a great question. Yeah. So my guess is you do.
I do, yeah.
But I instantly like that about you. Because if I hear it one day, and like when you really didn't intend for me to hear it, I'm gonna come up to you and go, "Attaboy."
Well done, Troy. Yeah. I do that.
What's that?
It is true that I do that.
Yeah, I might not verbalize it, but like to myself. But do I give myself internal credit for the tiniest things? Of course, of course. Look, I gave myself credit earlier today because when I started playing basketball again, and I had been out for about a year and a half because of the campaign and COVID, and my knees were aching after basketball for the first month, 6 weeks, etc. And today, walking down the stairs, my knees ached less, and I was like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. Like, what does that even mean? That's just your knees. You have nothing to do with it, right? Yeah, but I was a little proud of that. And in fact, of course, the real deal was, and Ben, good to have you back. So the real deal was that I said to Wendy twice yesterday, look, I'm 51 and I'm running up and down that court and I'm playing pretty well, although not yesterday, as Ben could attest to. And I like that I could play basketball for 2-3 hours in the sun, and I'm back in the groove, and that's like, I'm kind of proud of that, right? And that one I actually kind of mean. And she's like, yeah, I know, that's why you've said it 12 times today. In that freezer.
Right.
I think we're in a hearty ha-ha there, if you will.
Yeah, totally. That's right.
If this were our Pompeii, we'd be okay.
Yeah. In fact, I think that this is like a frozen screen version of Mark Thompson. This is how he is perpetually.
Right. That's true.
I played basketball yesterday with Cenk, and then so obviously I limp the rest of the day and sometimes the entire next day, guaranteed somewhere. Usually almost guarantee of like the Achilles or the instep of a foot, and sometimes the whole right leg, sometimes the hips. It wasn't that bad this time, but I'm pretty sure I had heat stroke, like just sort of low grade heat stroke, fun heat stroke. Like I had to go to Laguna, drive down to Laguna. By the way, Laguna, very nice. I don't know whether people know this, but it's nice. It's very crowded though. And so I'm there and I drank, I don't know, 9 glasses of iced tea and couldn't get hydrated. And then came home, and driving home, Lee, my wife was like, "You okay? You seem really out of it." I was like, "Huh? No, fine." Then I came home and collapsed. And I'm like, I think I have a little,
a touch of heat.
Dangerous heat stroke, fun heat stroke.
You know what though? If I was you, I'd be a little proud of that. Like, because you know what? You manned up. You went out there.
Yeah, I did. I felt pretty good during the actual event. I wasn't even that tired at the end.
Yeah, no, no. There's two different things, and you actually played really well. Like, man, your shot was on. You should be super proud of that. And then, but I think you was slightly more proud of taking heat stroke like a man.
I definitely took heat stroke like a man. I drove all the way to Laguna and back. I drove to Orange County and back. Yeah.
Yeah. That drives not a joke, but every time I go down to Laguna, I always think, why don't we come here more often? It's freaking gorgeous here.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought. I'd never been there, and I was like, this is nice. People should come.
You've never been to Laguna?
No.
To Laguna a lot. That's weird that you've never been to Laguna.
That is super weird.
I've been to like a mall in Newport.
That's not Laguna.
I didn't even know they were, no. And so when we went down there to eat, I thought like we're gonna end up going to a Cheesecake Factory in a mall, right? A nice mall, like a high-end mall. Which, by the way, I was like, this will be great. Right? That sounds fantastic. I got no complaint. But maybe we ended up eating someplace on the beach.
Do you think maybe we'll see Josh?
We came in and do some outlet shopping. So here's an interesting question. That's a good old school question. Why do 98% at a minimum, I won't accept lower than that. 98% of restaurants on the water suck. Like, why? Yeah. Like, I mean, I get it. You've overpaid for this, and so you're trying to create a lot of customers, a lot of turnover, right? To make up for the fact that you're on the pier in Santa Barbara or in Laguna if they have one or wherever. And so you gotta, but like, I don't know, why does the cheeseburger have to be bad?
Because it's like the really hot guy, the really hot girl. They don't have to be smart.
Maybe, I guess. It's just, you'd think there, and I'm sure there are some, but it is pretty, you sort of know, like if we're walking on the pier a few weeks ago, my wife and I in Santa Barbara, and and this place, and it's got this incredible view, right? It's right on the pier. It's gonna be great. And I was like, I know we can't eat there. I know it's bad. I can tell it's terrible. It's terrible. Yeah. There's probably, and I thought about Michael. I'm like, Michael would know 22 restaurants that are way better that we ought to be eating at.
Right. That's why like a place like Bubba Gump's, right? They own it. They're like, this is gonna suck, but look where we're located.
But look where we are, right? It seems like that, right? So I sort of admire them for that. But it is a little strange that that it's so consistently ordinary. Although, so anyway, what I was gonna say is the place on the beach wasn't directly on the beach that we had in Laguna. It was not even that bad, although they were charging beach prices.
Yeah, so I gotta say, I think Ben is, the 98% number is too high, but he's unquestionably onto something, and I put it at 80%. And what difference does it make? I
believe I said I would not accept a lower number, Jay.
Yeah, I think that's clear. You were clear about that. I'm sorry. But Michael is more right. It's they don't have to try as hard for sure. It's like, I know it's absurd, and how is it going to psychologically affect every restaurant owner on the beach? But it does. They don't try as hard because they're already hot.
Yeah, right. You just would think somebody would be like, mine's also gonna be great.
But here's another question: is it an American phenomenon? Because I feel like in Europe, places on the beach are fantastic.
Probably great. That's right, because it's gonna be fresh.
Right.
But in America, we'll be like, no. If you're in Santa Barbara, you're like, no. What are you talking about? We get most of our fish from in Georgia because it's cheaper. I know it's right there, but I don't get that. That's too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm so funny, because I'm making up for. Never mind.
Okay.
So to finish the thought on Proud, I brought all of this up so I can tell you about ironing.
Ironing or irony?
No, ironing.
Oh, okay.
Because every time I'm away, and I got a dress shirt, I put it in the bag, I travel to Cleveland, I got to take it out, and then it's a mess, and I'm forced to iron. And in the beginning, I think I hate this. I'm never going to be able to figure out how to turn on the iron. It's befuddles me every time. There is no easy on or off button on specifically irons. I don't know why.
It's got an inexplicable number of options.
Yeah, but one is not clearly on. Right.
That's right. Yeah,
that's true. Can I solve a problem for you, Cenk? And I solve this from being on the road myself a ton. Is when you take your shirts to the cleaners, if you do here in Los Angeles or there in Los Angeles, because I'm not there now. When you do that, get them folded, get them in a box. That's what I do with my shirts. I pack them and they're a rectangle, and then I get to the hotel and you have to shake them like this, like 3 or 4 times, and your shirt's fine, and you don't have to iron.
And I'm going to add another point. If you're going to do that, another helpful thing, which I do, even though I don't do what Mike, I did and I forgot, but that's what should be done. That's right. Is when I go, mostly I have my shirts waiting for me, so I don't have to deal with this much. But I do from time to time. But this, get them boxed, shake them out. Here, also not a sponsor, Downy Wrinkle Releaser. There's a little travel spray thing. You spray it on the shirt. You leave it for 10 minutes. It's not perfectly ironed, but it is 100% wearable, especially if you have a jacket.
See, I never get any of those things because of my consistently horrible experience with things like Tide stain remover. I throw Tide under the bus there, but it's really any stain remover. It never works. It's never going to work. In fact, it makes the stain worse almost every time.
No, you're mistaken. They are used properly, lifesavers. I have the Shout wipes.
Shout wipes,
useful. Yeah. Shout wipes are very good.
I have a stick that you go like this.
The stick is good too. That's the Tide stick.
But throwing Tide under the bus is part of our Downy contract, so you didn't do anything wrong.
That's true. That's totally right. Yeah.
All right. So, but when I iron, by the way, I'm totally going to do the things you guys suggested. The Downy thing, yes. Michael, I'm going to go in the car maybe right after the show and look for the arrow for the gas thing. Okay. But the thing that when I actually iron it, after I figured out how to turn it on, et cetera, and it works, and then doesn't have wrinkles anymore. I strut around the hotel room. Like, what now?
It's
what now, Iron?
Yeah,
Cenk, I was in Bloomington, Indiana. Last week? That's why I couldn't be on last Monday's show, and I missed that philosophy conversation, which just burns me up. So
did you really miss it?
Oh, good. Let's go with that. So I got the iron out and I figured out how to turn it on and I found the ironing board and I look at it the same way. I'm like, what is this? Right? I mean, what do I do now? And then you just start going and then you find the other parts of the shirt. And then after like 4 minutes, the shirt was, dare I say, iron.
Yeah. And how good did that feel, Ben?
It felt fantastic. And then when I got there, it was like a casual dress shirt, right? You wouldn't wear it with a tie, right? And I had a crazy credit at some high-end store because somebody gave me a present from there and shouldn't have. And so it was like a $235 white shirt. And I must say, very nice. Right, it does look good, but it's crazy that it's that much. And if I didn't have the credit, I would never have bought that in a billion years. And I get there.
Bought like 5 other things?
No, everything. Your minimum purchase at the store is like socks for $135. So like I had $400 to blow on this because somebody gave me a cashmere vest or some nonsense thing, and I mean again. And I had to argue to get the credit and couldn't get the money back anyway, so it doesn't matter. So, but I get there with the shirt that I've ironed, and as soon as I get down, the guy on my right goes, "That's a great shirt." Oh, the guy across from me goes, "I was gonna say, what a terrific shirt. Who made that?" And I was like, "Well, the key is you're about to hear a great ironing story." Settle in, everybody. I'm gonna talk about how I ironed a shirt.
So it sounds like we're all agreed then. Women are definitely wrong for not giving us credit for being proud of silly little things.
Oh yeah, I think I think I get credit for being proud of Silly Little Thing. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because come on, you figure out ironing, you should be proud of that. I mean, that is a big deal.
I still say, bring it to the cleaners, have them put it in a box.
Oh yeah.
It costs more to box it, right? There's like an extra $1 a shirt or something, right?
50 cents at my cleaners.
Right.
Oh, no way I'm gonna do that. Hey, you guys missed the episode from 2 weeks ago where JR and I talked about strategies on how to keep wearing socks when they still have holes in them. And those are not your $135 socks.
Better than philosophy conversation.
Yeah, I'm gonna end on this. Jay Bizzle wrote in on Twitch. Will Michael's mom be making an appearance tonight, and we can hear him yell out loud that he's shooting?
Yeah, I was on the power panel the other day, and so too apparently was my mother for a moment.
So my mom called me now, and she called me in the middle of Young Turks today. So apparently I have to call her back. But when I tell her, when I call her back, Mom, I was on air when you called. I guarantee you that her reaction is going to be, "Oh man!" Like, Mom, it's okay. I'm on there all the time.
Sorry.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell her just to get that reaction.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, guys, we're done. We're out of time. Much love. Good to have you all back. Opinionated wrote in. Wow, it's a real old school with Michael, Ben, and Cenk. How long has it been, brother? Way too long.
And let's even though we have not, it's not really revenge stake. Because we haven't yet exacted our revenge on COVID, but we should still have it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for revenge steak. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We just have to bide our time, and just when COVID is least expecting it, bam.
All right, gentlemen. Asher, thank you. Skip, great work. Thank you.
Good to be back.
See you guys.